Welcome. In this video, we're going to briefly go through some of the features on our instrument Texture Create. Now, this instrument's been out for quite some time. However, it's been exclusively sold in the production bundle, but now we're releasing it for individual sale. And so I thought now might be a good time to just give a refresher on what makes this instrument unique against the other products that we also offer. If you're familiar with any of our other products, such as CRE8, PolyCreate, WaveCreate, PadMotion, etc., then you'll be fairly familiar with the layout of this design as well. For instance, we do have a simple page that you can access some of the most basic parameters. We also have an advanced page where you can get a little bit more under the hood and start tweaking things to your desire. So I'll start on the simple page. This is a granular based instrument similar to our PadMotion line that also offers granular along with sample. This one's only granular though. So starting from the very top, these are global settings for each layer. The preset that I have up right now is only single layered, but there are some where you'll find that there's multiple layers to them. So in this, all these parameters will only affect the layer you're on. So if this was a 2-layer preset, the low pass filter, for example, right here, and the resonance for it would only affect this layer. It wouldn't affect also the second layer, as that will have its own parameters for that. So we have a low pass filter and a resonance. We have pitch bend up and pitch bend down. So what this does, if I play a note and I use the pitch bend to either go up or down, I can change the range that would be. So I can do like +3 for up and 2 for down. So that's what that parameter does. You'll find this also on the advanced page as well. We have a pan, that's pretty explanatory, that you just left or right for the layer itself. Main volume, along with a coarse tune. And then above that, you can change the octave that it does. We can turn on or off the ARP or the MIDI player from here. So the MIDI player is on, the ARP is on currently, and that offers you 2 other parameters such as octave for the ARP and the time, the rate for the ARP as well. I'm going to turn it off for the moment. Then we have a high pass filter and a high pass resonance. I'm going to skip the granular engine for the moment and just work our way down to the ADSR. So this is just your run-of-the-mill ADSR. You've got attack, decay, release. Next to it, we have filter control settings. So you have the cutoff. We can change the type of cutoff that it would be. From here, you can change the resonance, the amount sent to the filter envelope, and also the distortion. We have different types of distortion available. So right now it's on tube drive. You can choose from any of these though from here, or you can just turn it off. If you go to classic, none. I'll keep it on tube drive at the moment. We have 2 LFOs. These are fixed LFOs under the motion. So this is a volume LFO and a pan LFO. So right now we have the volume LFO on. We have an amount, so we're sending a good bit to it. We have it on ramp, but we can change that to something like saw, let's say. And we can change the shape of the saw or even the phase. The rate's kind of slow at the moment at a half note, but let's increase that. Likewise, all the parameters you're going to find here on the volume LFO, you'll also find on the pan LFO. If you want a quick way to bypass a lot of the motion, rather than going through and turning off these LFOs or going to the motion page and turning off whatever's over there, such as user envelope or step modulator, you can just turn the motion macro control down here all the way down, and you shouldn't be hearing any sort of motion. There is an exception to that. I think the ARP's an exception. So if you have that on, you'll still hear the ARP. And we also have the pan LFO that's not linked to that, since that's fairly benign. It's not going to do too much to the motion itself, but you can turn that off simply from the simple page. So then you have the modulation. This is just 2 parameters, such as the mod wheel and the aftertouch. Likewise, how we turned off the LFOs, we can turn these modulations off or on from these bypass switches. You have a certain amount you can send, and then different destination choices. Working our way up to the granular engine itself. So on the simple page, there's only a handful of parameters that we can tweak. However, if you want a little bit more detailed tweaking ability, you can go to the advanced page and do it from there. So For instance, we can change how many grains that we're going to have in the granular engine. So if I set it to 1, you're only going to get, it's not going to get that detailed for the granular. But I can go all the way up to 8. I can change the direction. So if I go negative, it's actually going to go to the left, like by 100. The speed at 100. And through time, you'll start to see the granular move across the sample itself. We have the level for the grains. We have the position of the grain. So if I want to change the starting point, I can put it here. We can change the pitch of the grains, the key follow for it, and the length for each one of those. What you see right here, this is the root key for the sample itself. You can also disregard the sample completely by just clicking this X. We have the playback mode, so you got things like normal, reverse, one shot, reverse, one shot. The sample start and the sample end, these aren't going to be as critical for something in a granular engine, but we do provide them in case you need them. We also have loop, different controls. So right now it's off, but you can also change the loop start and the loop end.